Samsung Go. There we go, baby. These little Samsung Go mics are really nice. Check them out. Tiny little mic. You can bring it anywhere. I think they're like 20, 30 bucks. Bring them anywhere you need. And just give you that extra bit of pro sound that you may not be able to have somewhere else. You can hang it here. You can even put it on. You can clip it. I can even clip it here. Look. Clip it to this. That's actually a pretty cool thing too. Now it's just clipped right there. I don't know which one was better. Audio looks pretty good either way. Alright, it's recording. And I'm going to share my screen. Hold on. And we're going to look at screen 2. Okay. Here we go. Alright, welcome. Thank you for coming in too. Amazing how many people want to come in and learn. That's what it's about. The more you know, the more you can use to your advantage. Knowledge has always been power throughout history. All right? And it will forever continue to be. All right, so we're looking at first we'll look at previous levels. When learning Fibonacci, the replay button is going to be your friend. Let me say that again. When learning Fibonacci, the replay button is going to be your friend. So look, we're going to go to the replay button here, and we're going to bring it to a peak. How do you know it's a peak? How do you know when you get extended? You know? Well, let's look for the things that we look for. All right? Number 1, we talk about double topping. Okay? M patterns, or top, top. Right? This should coincide with falling tops on the RSI, which is bearish divergence. Okay? So this is your bearish divergence here. Phantom starts to drop. Okay? Now you understand you're at a top. You're like, okay. You go to the daily too. Check that daily. That daily should be spent. The RSI should be high. That's a top. Alright? Very extended price action on the daily time frame. Okay? It even got really high, came down again, and then got shot up again. MACD was also extended. Lots of volume, more than you've seen in a long time, right? So you're seeing spikes in all indicators. So that's your top, okay? So you're like, okay. Now at this point, you got to figure out where you would, so you sell a top, let's just say. So you identify a top. You're lucky enough to get out here, here, or here, somewhere in these middles, anywhere between 168 and let's say 195. To me, that's a top. Like, there's always a range to the top. And now you're like, what do I do? Now, when I didn't know Fibonacci, I had no idea what to do. I could go on support and resistance, and also before Fibonacci, I just wait for this to retrace. Stochastics down near the dotted line. That's what we're gonna go for, right? Nail it. So I'm like, all right, makes sense to me. Now, but there's just more precise ways to trade, right? And now we're going to talk about the Fibonacci retracement, right? Now, as you're watching this, the exercise alone is also a teaching tool. Watching what I'm doing here, how I use the replay button, how I'm going back in time, this is called back testing. Right now, I'm watching previous price action to see how it reacted to the Fibonacci's. You want to be able to, you do this 100 times, 100 back tests, pretty solid. And you'll start to see some what's called truth in the charts, right? You'll get some affirmations in data. The data will affirmate itself. You'll see certain prospects of action that happened or didn't happen. And as you collect more probabilities, there lies the key to a good trader. The knowledge of back testing will lead you to be able to make better decisions in the future without any emotions. Most people want it for free. Everyone wants to watch a video and know how to trade. It just doesn't happen. The video lets you know what happens. For instance, it's just like learning how to drive a car. You can sit in a classroom and I can play the videos for you all you want. You can watch a video on how to take a left and right turn. You can know everything about the inside of a car, every single instrument. You can actually be one of the most learned people ever when it comes to a car. And driving, you actually might know more about driving than anyone else. When to switch lanes, how to turn your blinker on. But you've never pressed your foot to the gas pedal. You've never rolled the window down and felt the air blow against your face. Like, you've never actually driven a car. So, back testing over and over again will lead you to give the information to then start driving the car properly, right? You're going to learn. And honestly, just watching videos is not backtesting. Backtesting is like driving the car. Once you start backtesting, it's more like getting your hands dirty. I always apply it to watching a gardening video. You can watch as many gardening videos as you want. You can go and watch every guy out there on YouTube, and you can soak it in, and you can know every indicator. But until you backtest, until you decide to spend the time in the charts, which to me was hard, I didn't have the attention span. I couldn't seem to get myself to do it for years until it was like my life depended on it, really. Like it got to the point where I just had to learn it, or I was gonna sink or swim. Right? I'm a pressure guy. Everything in my life has to be done if I'm put under pressure, really. I found that like I'll dizzy-dally until the pressure's on, you know? And then once the pressure's on, like I'll never take it off. So like I was always looking for a more high pressure job in my life because I needed something that gave me that rush, that adrenaline that made me feel like I was alive every day, honestly. So we get to this high, we come back down. Let's talk about what I just did. Because I did it without saying anything, which is funny. But let's talk about this. Let me get rid of this. So when pulling a Fibonacci, and look, I'll take off just the moving averages for now, just to make the price clean. So when watching a Fibonacci, we're always trying to figure out where a quote-unquote impulse is. An impulse is a, drastic movement in price that usually did not have much of a decline at all, right? So, like, this is an impulse for Phantom right there. This is an impulse for Phantom right here. This is an impulse for Phantom. And then look, retracement, followed by, you can see there's just more red in there. There's more red in here. There's more green in there, right? And here we have an impulse for Phantom. Remember, we back tested this. We're back. We're in the past now on September 10th. Right, September 11th almost. Yikes. Anyway, so these are the previous lines we made for the divergence on the 4 hour. So don't mind them now. Yeah, and you do see divergence too. Let me teach you. This is Class C divergence. It's a divergence that like literally I didn't start seeing till I was more like, more. Basically a lot, I don't want to say expert because I stay away from that word, but when I was more pro at divergence, once I really had my divergence down. So this is swing up to swing up, and some would say, oh, they both swing to the upside. But clearly there's not much room left in the RSI, and clearly these angles are going to hit each other. If you kept dragging this and you keep dragging that, you're going to have what's called bearish divergence, okay? So that's another indication that the price probably will drop. This swing to this swing is a sharp uptrend. This swing to this swing does not match that angle, and it's way flatter. And they're almost perpendicular, and they will make a cross very early. Bearish divergence. So just want to point that out as well. So you've established the top, you've gotten out of the trade, but you love Phantom. You know it's an amazing project. You never want it to really sell. You're too good. This is the problem with me now. I was always a really good investor. I could pick a coin and hold it forever, and I had the patience to nail it. And I've done it enough times now to know that I can do that. Right? I bought Phantom at the bottom somewhere in July or June or something. June 26th, around that area, in a range like a 2-week period, right? 12th to the 28th or something maybe. And I've been holding it for July, August, September, October, like 4 months. Easy for me to hold, make an easy 16x at one point at the high, almost about a 15.5x. And yeah, and that's like about if you divide that by the 4 months, which is 12 weeks, that's about 1x a week. You're making 100% a week. I mean, for the whole entire time you're holding an asset. Like crypto does that. Like the right coins, look at Sand. Sand probably made 200 to 300% a week if you do the math. So, but now the problem is, then you get better and better at TA. All right, so you want to hold something, but you get better and better at TA, and then next you know that 4 hour high daily overbought dailies and RSIs are places where the price goes down. You just know that now. And the problem with me is now I like holding things long. But then I know too much. So now what I do is I keep a long bag and then I keep a swing bag. And one long bag is put away and I know I don't touch it, even though I kind of would like to, because I know I can swing it. But and then I have a swing bag, which I'm more prone, I'm loyal to swinging that bag, because if I don't, there's always that in between now, because now I'm better at TA than I was before, and I can figure out tops way better. So I'm like, why would I hold something if I know it's going to go down for a while when I could get more? And there's still an in between between that, right? Because I feel like if you have 50 positions and like you can't buy and sell out of every one of them, I feel it would be daunting. But at least pick 4 or 5, maybe even 6, So again, not financial advice, just things I think about out loud in my mind about trading, because it's interesting. You'll get better at TA. You'll start to be like, wow, I know this is, in your heart, you never know, but there's a high probability that you've seen many times in your life that something's going to go down, and you're like, and I'm going to watch it go down. Well, when I damn well know it will go down, So this is where the Fibonacci comes in handy. So you go up here, 1, 2, 3, the third shape on TradingView. Please get yourself a TradingView account. If you do not, I'm pretty sure everyone here has one. If you've been watching me long enough, you probably have a TradingView account, right? So we go here and we go up to Fib retracement. It's the top one. Alt F too. You notice has it's the nice shortcut. Alt F, and I start it, and if you start it ends up being put on this line here as one of these. I believe it's right. It's not this one. I think it's over here on the left somewhere. Yeah, right there. So I can click on it when I need it. Most of the times I'm hitting Alt F. Now remember, we talked about an impulse, because we went up here and then we retraced down. So we want to pull this from impulse, and we want to do it from the daily time frame, okay? If you're swing trading, trying to figure things out, the daily time frame. So Alt F and click the bottom and pull this all the way to the wick. A lot of times you'll see me say I don't use wicks when making divergence. I don't use wicks when I'm building a pattern. This is true for me and my trading system, but I do use wicks when pulling Fibonacci's, okay? Because you need to see the range. Now we open it up. I'm going to double click on this. When you double click on anything in TradingView, you can see like the whole piece of it, right? So here's the deal here for Phantom. Now, in theory, it'll retrace to the 618.65 and at the very lowest, the 706. Okay. Let's talk about those levels. Okay. The 618 will be on your chart. However, the 0.65 and the 0.706 will not. Okay. You're going to have to right click the settings on the Fibonacci. Make sure you're touching the Fibonacci. See how that's at horizontal line? Just make sure you pick like a place on Fib. Make sure that dot is on. And then right click it and hit settings. It's going to show you all the different Fib lines that are around. Okay. And look, I added the 0.065. So this wasn't clicked. I would click it. And whatever number it is, you click on this, whatever number it is, right? Well, just hit delete all the way. Hit 0.65, right? And leave that as such, like so. Now I already have it, I don't need it. And then hit 0.706. I make this one yellow. I make this one orange, this one yellow. And I make the 618 a nice bright white. I really want the 618 to stand out and make it that white. And so that's how I like to put my Fib lines. Okay. You can maybe make them a little thicker if you want, depending on how you like it. So, you learn over and over again in trading that institutions and smart money like to bring the price right back down to the 618 Fibonacci level. Okay. So this is an area that you're looking at, and then a lot of times it wicks down into the 0.65, and usually they take it even a little lower. I'd say like half the time, maybe even 60% of the time, to the 706. And it's almost like there's a new pocket, but this was the old golden pocket that you always saw. Now there seems to be a bigger pocket, but we're looking for this area for a retracement. And it's not perfect, but you got a range from $1 to 85 cents. I mean, it's a 15-cent range. It's not too bad. And you're looking for maybe a bounce. You're looking for like a previous high here, maybe a wick back down, and then maybe when you come back down for that hit on the 618, bam, and then you're good. So you're looking for these. You're looking for it to create a falling wedge, which it's going. That's 9 out of 10 times. And then you're also looking for an inverted head and shoulder in at the base of the falling wedge. This is my signature entry. You'll see a lot of lifers are picking up on this. They'll post a chart inside a falling wedge, and they'll post the inverted head and shoulder inside. Something, I think LRC. We can go to LRC. My recollective memory here. Let's go look. We should look at LRC. Even here, look. 1 falling wedge. Okay. And lo and behold, inside the falling wedge, usually I'm talking about a bigger one, usually at the edge of it, and it's probably one there on a smaller time frame. There's a little one in there, but even look at here. I mean, there's the inverted head and shoulder here, and we would break to the upside. I'm in one. I think I've made that clear. I'm riding this up just to get to the top. I'm swing trading it, right? Not for 37, but all the way to the bigger gain here. I have a bigger target over there at about 56. So depending on what Bitcoin does, but I'll get a big pump out of it, and we'll go from there. Now it's flagging on the 1 hour, which is a good sign so far. Again, everything's kind of following Bitcoin. I just got this sick keyboard. You can fold it and like put it in your pocket, flip it out anywhere, Bluetooth. This thing is amazing. I really like it. It's sick. I'm traveling right now too, so it's just nice to have like these quick and easy accessible items that make the enhancement for everyone better and helps me stay on point. So shout out to technology. So yeah, I like what I'm seeing for one. It's forming a flag. If this 1 hour can retrace, and this is what all eyes are on, like to the downside here, we get a little retracement here in the RSI, and one can just simply stay in a flag and touch this, then we're ready for our next leg up. Okay, but again, let's go back to fibs. So we're watching the fibs closely, and we're always watching for this retracement to the 618, 706, 6.65. This is the hot spot. So let's play the awesome, cool replay button, and let's watch price action. Okay. Now, this took a beautiful retracement, exactly wicking to the 0.65 into the golden pocket. And this is why we call it the golden pocket. It's just so money. Like, look how beautiful that is. Like, why? I don't know, but that's the retracement. Look, shoulder, head, shoulder. It always finds itself in there, even if you can't see it. And then how do you know where price is going to go, right? After you figure out. So what you do is you limit order here. Okay? If I was going to put, let's say person B, I would want, let's say me, I want to put $5,000 into the trade, right? So I put a $1,500 order here. I put a $1,500 here. I put a $1,500 order here. Once price starts to bounce here and I get a strong close on the daily, I cancel this one and I leave this one maybe just in case, and then I put this one up there, right? And usually if I want to put $5,000 in the trade, I'm using 6,500 in the orders, hoping that one of them's a Hail Mary that doesn't get filled. You know what I'm saying? If it does get filled, then I'm in for 65, but I get an amazing price action. I'm probably super happy about it. 9 out of 10 times you don't get them, so you leave 5 orders. So if you're going for 5 orders, you make 6. If you're going for 4 orders, you make 5, right? And the idea is to catch it in the zone. You know, that's pro trading. Like, and honestly, in my lifetime, I've probably done it like maybe only 100 times. Like it's like usually I wait. I'm a guy who waits for the retracement, or I'm buying. Usually I'm zooming in, and I'm getting into some wick down here, or into the like I'll find some divergence down here. You know, once I know I'm in the golden pocket, it just gives me so much more confidence to get into the trade. So I do buy in here all the time. But do I make like? But it's very rare. Like what I would love to do is be like the perfect trader who puts limit orders here, right, and waits for the price to come down. I've done it like 100 times and it's worked. But it's like it takes BALZs, because you have to like, what if that isn't? What if the market does shift and then you get collecting orders, and you know, but if anything, that's the perfect way to do it. But I like to wait for confirmation. I'm a little less risky there. I think that is high risk because you never know. I like to wait for confirmation, find my, smaller time divergences, but regardless, this is a textbook retracement, and so selling the top area and then you don't have to nail the bottom, but once you bounce off of that zone, and you could use a smaller time frame for these confirmations, like the 1 hour. But once you bounce off the zone, all right, and look, you make a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder, which is interesting, right? But you bounce off the zone and then you make a higher low. That's a beautiful entry. The next higher low could, specifically when it's off of a 618, has more significance of an uptrend than any other higher low you've seen, right? Because it's off. You're saying we bounced off the golden pocket and now we made our second high. And now you're like, all right, now we need to break above. And look, we hit the 382 and get rejected. How amazing is that? Then we bounce, get right back above, and then we use the 0.5 fib as support. Then we use the 3.2 as support, and then we're gone. Look at that, to the next Fibonacci. Look how that worked out so beautifully, right? Like, that's not a coincidence. That can't be a coincidence. These things are not coincidences, okay? They're just not. They just can't be. They can't line up that well without the math being there. So it's kind of exciting to know that if you can learn the math, you're ready to go, right? So that's Fibonacci there, right? So we pulled one now, okay? We're going to keep moving on the exercise, and we'll watch price action now. How do you know where price is going to go, right? That's the measured move. Some people use fib extensions, okay? You can do that as well, or we can use the measured move. Okay? I'm going to show you both right now, just so you're well equipped. But that's a fib retracement, and today we're going to work mainly on fib retracements, okay? Or tonight, or wherever you are in the world. It could be the morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. So you pull this. How did I do that? What did I do? Well, I found the previous basically falling wedge. Okay. And I'm seeing the break to the upside. And this is breaking to the upside. Okay. And what do you do is I find that length. And this is technically Elliott wave theory. It's wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, ABC correction, right? However, it's not even needed to know, but if you do know what I'm saying, then you know what I'm saying, right? If you don't worry about it. We'll get to it at one point. But look, I mean, that comes within a standard deviation of like 1% of that move. Like 246 said 250, 4 cents off on a giant move like that. And actually, if we wiggle a little room out, let's see, I think it actually does hit the measured move. It gets so close, like look at that. So with Fibonacci's and measured moves, I don't think you need fib extensions, and I don't think you need to use Elliott wave theory, but that's up to you, right? Now, what is a fib extension? Because that was fib retracement. You have trend-based fib extension, and then you have fib retracement. You can use either one, okay? Fib retracement really does the same thing. You go from the top left to the bottom right of this range. And this gives you the zones where we should go, right? And you can see we got right here below this Fibonacci level, and it was respected. So it's pretty interesting how it lines up with the measured move. So again, when you're doing the retracement, it's the bottom left to the upper right, the lowest wick on price to the highest wick on price, with the fib retracement tool. When you're doing extensions, you can use the retracement tool, but you're pulling from the upper left to the bottom right of the smaller range of the consolidation. Okay. This will be recorded, and you can watch it again if that didn't make sense or you just need to hear it again. A lot of things in technical analysis I needed repeated multiple times. I needed to write down. I needed to say them over and over again because it just took me a lot longer to understand these things. However, people that say, oh, but it takes me long to learn, a lot of times those people are the people that learn it the best and know it the longest. So other people may say they learn quick and fast, but maybe they don't obtain the information for as long or as quality. So I'd rather someone have to struggle with the learning, because that means you're going to have the quality access to the information later on in life, and that's going to give you success. Okay, so don't be worried if this is confusing to you at all. That's actually a good thing. That means you're going to really dig in and you're really going to grasp it at one point, just like I did, just like everyone else. And even I have, like, quote unquote, some type of, like, attention, whatever, and I'm able to hone in because I love the subject matter and it's beautiful, and I know it can change my life, so I want to keep learning. And then I get to teach people it, and I know they can change their life. So the whole process to me is a full circle energy wheel that always re-energizes me and the person that I'm tutoring and teaching. And that in turn of energy is really what this group's about. We recycle the energy that I use back into the group. You guys recycle it back to me. We kind of keep a chi movement of energy inside of the group. It's very special. Danny's part of it. Everyone here is part of it. And we're all actually adding to it every given moment. So I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. So check it out. So amazing, right? Measured move and Fibonacci. Okay, we're going to move forward now to our next impulse. Okay. Okay, so here we do have an impulse. Let's talk about this one here. It's a lot smaller than the last one. And you'll hear me use the word sometimes a mini fib. What I mean by that is I'm just pulling a fib on a smaller movement, maybe a smaller time frame, So again, Alt F, the bottom wick to the top. And look, this was a far more bullish retracement. It was a falling wedge, and we just hit the 382 and we bounced. You don't always have to come to the 618, and honestly, usually on a bigger movement you do, but on something smaller like the 1 hour, it doesn't always occur. Let's see though. Let's see if over time we eventually hit a lower fib. So there, you can see here, this one went into the 0.5 fibby though, eventually. It did a bunch of song and dance, but it would come down here, almost to bounce off the 0.5 fib. And there were some support and resistance lines. Look, right there, previous resistance. And that's why I always talk about the 9-point checklist. You got to go through it all. Was there a previous support and resistance line? So that's previous resistance. We should bounce off that level. Okay? That can also confuse people because they'll be like, well, the fib didn't work. And I'm like, oh, but you didn't look at your support and resistance. And it's like, oh, trick question, but it's not. It's about having the full package at all times with you. Because then you'll be like, oh yeah, well that makes sense we didn't go to the 618 because there was a really strong support area there and we bounced, right? I'll show you something interesting though too, is like, this is an impulse, right? From this high all the way up to basically this wick, right? And you can see like where would we retrace to? I guess you could say we went here, but we would retrace to the golden pocket, the 618, almost into the 6.5, like, and then we would move up again. How interesting, right? Impulse, trace back down to the 618, where there was a bunch of orders being filled. There was a liquidity there. There's always a lot of liquidity here because this is where traders like me hang out. Guys that know these things, that have been doing this for years. Institutional traders, smart money. Got people that, 50-year-old guys that have been working for Goldman Sachs. Dudes, a lot of guys that were on the market for years, they're at home trading now, right? They're not going to just stop trading just because they're like semi-retired. And they're setting orders down at the 6.5, at the 0.618. And bam, the orders are getting drawn into liquidity, just like we show on Bookmap, right? And boom, the liquidity gets filled. Liquidity pools, man, and they're hanging out in these Fibonacci levels, okay? I'm going to go over to Bitcoin, and we're going to show you a bunch of movements on Bitcoin that are interesting, okay? So here, Bitcoin would impulse, okay? Impulse, remember, beginning of the impulse to the top of the impulse, okay? Remember, daily time frame. You could pull that small impulse, but do it on the 1 hour and the 4 hour where you can see more price action. Remember, you can pull fibs in mini worlds and big worlds. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. Beautiful fib. And look, we came to the 0.5 Fibonacci. Don't always go to the 618 or the 706, but in general, you're going to hit one of these 3 levels. One of these 3, 4 levels. 90% of the time. You're definitely retracing at least to the 0.5 Fibonacci. And there's a Fibonacci retracement right there. Right? Bam. The key is to do this over and over again on multiple time frames on multiple coins. Over and over and over and over again. Okay? Until you just can't take it anymore. Then take a couple days off and then do it again for another couple of weeks. Look, to the 0.5 so far. Retracing just like this one. Same fib level, which is interesting. Is that a coincidence that we're retracing to the same? And we almost didn't hit the 0.5, right? We were like kind of hung out near it. Oh no, we were right on it this time. This time we kind of came kind of close to it. These look similar. This and this look, this jagged, this, they look like similar ideas. Finally getting some divergence on bigger time frames. It's interesting. Could that be a bottom for Bitcoin at 55K? There's a chance, you know. You can even pull this now as a huger, and this is the thing about fib is, you know, or with everything, and everyone wants a definitive answer. Everyone wants to know like where you pull the fib every time, and it's like you get to be good at price action and movement, and you become fluid, and like you start just doing things differently. And it comes with practice, and it comes with getting your hands dirty in the charts over and over again, right? This is an impulse. You know, I almost don't love that idea because there's definitely just an impulse after that. So you kind of like really just, it doesn't really fall right with me, but we're at the 0.5 fib there, all right? We're going to look at some other fibs for Bitcoin on the USD chart now here. So here, I figured out, and look, here, there's the golden, so look, there's the golden pocket for Bitcoin. See, I pulled this fib here recently on the weekly chart from impulse to impulse, or on the daily chart. If we were to come back down here to 5,000, 42,000, 43,000, 40K, it wouldn't be crazy because we've seen these types of retracements before. This also keeps you from like getting too bearish just because you see some red. Like if I didn't know this, I'd be like, oh, it's bearish, it's over, we're gonna dump, like it's a mess. But then when you think about it, it's not that bad because it's just a retracement to a normal area that you've seen 90% of the time, and it's like, all right, no reason to be emotional here, no reason to be out of control here. This makes sense, okay? So those are some levels, and these are levels to watch for Bitcoin. There's the golden pocket, okay? So I have this kind of on deck. If we retrace to that area, I'm not going to be as scared as most people. If I get another higher low off the side and I see we're moving up, I'd probably be more prone to long then and take advantage of the 43K when everyone else would be freaking out. So Fibonacci's really help you stand strong in a crazy situation. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how I personally use the Fibonacci's to basically like put myself in a really good position against the market, okay? And where it wasn't easy for me to get manipulated out of my position due to due to the Fibonacci levels, okay? So here, and I've shown this many times in the live, and a few of you have probably seen this before, but I'm hoping there's some people that are new every time I show this that have never seen it. So Bitcoin was doing great. It then took a nasty dump, and people were freaking out. And once we started getting these low wicks, we started hearing calls for 10K. Richard Hart came out and said every retracement's a 10K retracement, 886, that's just what's going to happen. You know, we were high here, we're going to come all the way back down. And then those other people said, well, we just have to retrace the previous high at 20K, 22K. And then there was the 28K people. And eventually I had to say, man, it looks like 28K is coming. Like, even when we were right around here and we started to kind of, I was like, it's, you know, it was, and we fell pretty fast. And then we formed a bear pennant that dropped, which formed into a falling wedge. We eventually found divergence. Okay. I love hidden bullish. It usually comes with a mountainous piece of price action and a mountainous piece of the RSI. But if you take the 2 points where the mountain begins here and where the mountain comes and ends, same here and here, you'll see that this is an uptrend, but this is a downtrend. And that tells me that the price will continue and end up higher than the previous high. The trend will continue to the upside is what this tells me. And lo and behold, that played out like it says 90% of the time this plays out, and just like it said it would, it did. Now, that was one idea that I started seeing when we were back here. Now, it took a lot of guts to long Bitcoin here. The market was very bearish. People were saying Grayscale was about to unlock. More bad news came out. China FUD, China banning. They kept doing the China, like they've done that so many times. It's absolutely ridiculous. But they're like, oh, just do it again. It works again. Remember, like the South Park, like, yeah, just FUD it again. Like, it's so silly. But, so, that was it. Now, we pull the Fibonacci as well from low impact, right, from impulse to the top of this wick. And we see that these wicks end up, if this is the 618, we put a line. And if this is the 0.65, we put a line. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me fix that. Thank you for being quiet, Summer. You're so sweet. No, she's okay. So sweet. So look, there's the 6.618, right? And there's the 0.65. And look, we wicked there once, we wicked there twice. Okay? When I saw that, knowing I had drawn Fibonacci's for the last 5 years straight, over and over again, and I've longed the 618 many times, or used it as a bounce of support, and then got in off the 5.5. Just use it as a place where I felt confident that we have bottomed out and we're ready for a new leg. I had done it so many times in my life that at this point, it was easier to do than to believe everyone else who was fudding the market. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna trust my fibs. Like, I'm more of a seasoned trader now. I've been doing this a long time. I said, I'm going to, and I put in half of my savings into Bitcoin on June 26 at 32,400. I remember it so clearly because I said, what if we go to 10K? And I said, we could. You never know. Anything is possible. And that's why I left half in the kitty in case we did. I said, well, then I'll just get more Bitcoin. And I said, all right, then. And I said, I'll be happier getting more Bitcoin at 10K than this long that goes down. And I'm not going to get stopped out because it's Bitcoin. Whenever I accumulate Bitcoin, I consider it lucky. Consider this. We never know what's going to happen in life. Today I could buy 0.25 of Bitcoin. I could end up in a car accident in a coma for a month. I hope to God not. But you never know. Or something beyond my means could happen where I don't have the chance to get Bitcoin, or it's just not. And so every time I get some Bitcoin, I consider it a blessing. Because that's just a little more Bitcoin I have than the time before. Everyone's all about gains and they want to buy every other coin in the world. At the end of the day, I'll buy all these gaming coins to make gains to buy more Bitcoin. Like I see no other end result but by aiming to buy more and own more Bitcoin, right? Like imagine having 100 Bitcoin. What a feeling that would be. And that's my goal. I'm trying to get there. Can I get there in this bull run? Anything is possible. You know what I'm saying? If you can make 50 BNB out of one BNB, then you can get 100 Bitcoin out of a couple Bitcoin. So I think anything is possible. I stay open-minded at all times because if you're not, then you're already closed to the next amazing thing that could happen to you. So check it out. We go to the 6.618 and 0.65, and again, beautiful retracement. I also talk a little bit about the stochastics RSI. Look, they were low. This chart starts on October of 2017, and you have 1, 2, 3 times where it's really below the dotted line. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So in 4 years, 4.5, almost 5 years coming up on, or 4.5 though, you're seeing, or 4 years even, you're seeing there was only 4 really great times to buy dead, Bitcoin on the low. And we were there again. And so I said Fibonacci retracement to 0.65. I said hidden bullish divergence. I said low stochastics on the weekly time frame. I said I got a long Bitcoin here. And so stochastics RSI can do so much for you and change so much about how you see the market. Okay? There's so many times where it came into play. Let's take a look at block recently. Okay? And what I like about what's happening now in these bull markets where you have healthy retracements, you get to really use the fib a lot, and you learn a lot. I see my whole team using the fib more than they did, when things are really retracing, we're trying to dig our way out. We're pulling fibs, but we're also kind of on the low, So here, we can pull this impulse to this impulse, and we can see where the retracement was for block. You can even pull it from that impulse, but I'll pull it from like this flat line here. And again, there is talk, there's still, people go back and forth as to where the right place to draw the fib is or where an impulse comes from. And different traders do different things. There is a general rule. Most people are pretty much the same, So this retraced pretty hard. But if we extend it to the initial beginnings, which actually makes sense, you can see we came again. Yeah, impulse all the way up, 18 cents from 0.04 to 18 cents. Which is pretty insane. It was 0.01 when it really got on the map. I first saw this at 0.04. At 1 cent, it would be an 18x, right? Now we see it in this cup and handle now, bouncing off the 200-day moving average. It's very, very bullish. But you can see it dumped, and where did it retrace to? Open it up here. It retraced right there. Bam. Past in between the 0.65 and the 706, right past the golden pocket, and then came back into the golden pocket. And you can see that was the perfect time to get back into block in the golden pocket. So again, from the bottom left to the upper right, we come back to the retracement area, the 0.618, the 0.65. I showed you how to add those, right? If you forgot, or you didn't write it down, or you felt like you didn't have to, I know how you are. I used to do that. Write it down. I'm going to do it again, just in case. Go down here. 0.65. Add that. 0.703. Add those. They're very important that you add those. Okay? Alright, and that's a mini fib class. Yeah. Yeah. Yo, what's up, NN? I don't have much time, but let me know.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could do the same thing on sand. Like, sand just touched $6 just now. And I've been watching it ever since, what was that, 3? I just wondering if you could do a fib on sand just so I could see how that works.
And we called 650 sand. You can see my chart. My targets are always above. See, we were calling 650 before we even hit $6. How do we do this? We stick to the measured moves. We stick to the measured moves. And a lot of times the measured move, like I'll draw a measured move, I'll be honest, and I'll go to post it to the group, and my mind will be like, that's insane, bro. Like, I'm like, bro, I don't think you should post that. In my mind, I'll be talking to myself, I'll be like, that's a little nuts. I'll be like, you really think? And I'll say, hey, man, the measured move defies logic. Like, I've seen it so many times. I said, just stick to the charts and stop using your emotions and your own mind. Let the charts show you the way. Like, so you go to the daily. Obviously, you're getting extended on sand. Now the thing is, when you go into a super cycle, like a hyper cycle rally, like we're kind of in, like a super cycle kind of going on. Like this is super parabolic. Like I remember getting into this coin at 4 cents, not like in January. Hasn't even been a year, and that's like let's do the math there. I mean, 594 divided by 4. Because this was on the radar as like what was going to be a hot coin back then. 148x. $1,000 is 148 grand now. I mean, you put in a couple grand into this thing, you're looking at some serious life-changing wealth. So now it is getting extended on the daily. Looks like it has a little more room to go. Like, see how that could push up a little more? I don't pull my fib until I feel like I've hit a high level, right? 1 hour still has momentum, right? The 1 hour can still cross and cross up here. So in my opinion, sand's not done yet because just the oscillators aren't extended yet. All right. What we will do is we'll pull a fib at a few other places for sand, and we can then project. We'll pull a fib from the actual projection. All right. So there's a chance that this is when we get to. This says we're getting to 750, which is insane. Right. Again, like I say, I'll pull a measured move. Logically, won't make sense to me. The price does not care. The price will hit these measured moves regardless. Like I thought sand was extended last night, you know, even at 385 or 2, you know, but I pulled a you know, a measured move, and it said no. It said sand wants more. Like, and what happened? Sand wanted more. So now, one thing that will happen is in a very bullish scenario, you'll hit like the 0.5 a lot. You won't hit the 0.618. Here's a place though. Look, sand got extended on the 4 hour. It got really high at 335. It had been ripping since $1, so you knew it did like a 2x. It got really high on the RSI. You had the bearish divergence starting to form. Swing up to swing up, swing down to swing down. And then the fib, you could pull this fib here. Sorry. And then we pull a fib from here to there. And see, we came to like the 0.5. When things are really bullish, we won't go to the 0.618. Like, a lot of times we'll just keep hitting the 0.5 and ripping, 0.5 and ripping. You know, it'll be a consistent thing in very bullish scenarios. And that means it's bullish. Think about it. Like, everyone wants the price so much they won't even let it get to the 0.618. Now, after a huge crumble, when everyone's had their pie, that's when you're going to see it come down again, you know. Here again, look, this just goes to the 382 rips. Again, these are small mini fib areas, like, right? So to me, like, sand could still have some room. Like, could be flipping up here for one more hill, one more leg up, right? We don't have like really bad. I want to see this get high, and then this get high, and then that's going to be the bearish divergence. Like, this will probably curve here, but this will curve one more hill. So I want one more high hill, but one more low hill on the RSI. Nail the bearish divergence, and then now if this was an impulse, you could pull a fib here and expect it to maybe, you know, come back down before its next move on the 4 hour to the 0.618. Could even look at the daily on that. And that would put us back, and what's interesting is that lines up with the look resistance, boom, bounce. That's previous support and resistance lines. So does sand pump a little more to $647 possibly, and then retrace to 4? That's kind of how you start playing it. You start projecting it into the future if you're not exactly sure where the end result is, you know. Alright, everyone, I gotta flex, but talk to admins amongst yourselves, have fun in the learning library, play with the tool, use it over and over again. Just get so comfortable with like you're buttering toast, or like you're eating vegan avocado toast, however you do if you don't eat butter. So yeah, have a wonderful holiday. I'm gonna be around. I'm not going anywhere, but if you're with family and friends, have a wonderful holiday. I am back with my mom and dad. I haven't seen them in a while. It's nice to be home. I was in a great mood. I was thinking of fibs. I heard a lot of people asking, and I just felt like making this little fib class. And so thank you for everyone joining, and I'll see you in the rooms. Have a great night. Be safe.